all comes back to aesthetics, right? So if you were to look up adverts or things that we're seeing on social media every day, all these products that are marketed as wellness are all about us being less. So being smaller, weighing less, looking younger. So it's about making us think that our wellness and our health would be better if we looked different. That's essentially the messaging that we're bombarded with. Welcome to the 30 Something Shift podcast, the podcast where I support women in their 30s move through the real shifts in life that shape our well-being. I'm Liv, a menstrual cycle, fertility and pregnancy yoga teacher. Here we explore our cycles, fertility, conception and pregnancy through yoga, meditation and real conversations. When we think about being healthy, what image comes to mind? Is it a flat stomach, a green smoothie, perfectly matching gym set? These images probably come to mind because this is what we're sold. This is what we see everywhere as the epitome and the image of health. But the truth is that what if we flip the script as to what looks healthy or how do I look and change it to how do I feel? Now, that might seem really obvious, but there's so much out there about aesthetics and the way that health looks that we often forget what it really means to be healthy, what it means to us individually, what it means to us as women. And when we can stop putting that pressure on ourselves of how it looks and flip it to how it feels. Because you can see somebody who looks the stereotype of healthy, this image that we've been sold, but underneath they're stressed, they're anxious, they're burnt out from trying to maintain that. And then you can have women that don't have this typical look of being healthy, but they're absolutely thriving and the happiest in their life. So today we're going to talk about the pressures of the diet, aesthetics, things that we are told are important, things that we are told mean we are healthy, and taking back what it really means to be a healthy woman in your 30s. So let's get into it. So a few months ago, my mum was coming to visit and she asked me to design a yoga class that we could do while she was here. She's in her early 60s and I said, yeah, sure, what do you want to focus on? What do you sort of want me to make the class about? And her response really surprised me because I was thinking of the things that I know that she struggles with, and I was thinking of the sort of goals that she may have for her well-being based on what I know. And she said, oh, I want to improve my flexibility. And I was completely taken aback. This is never something that I knew that she wanted to work on. It's never something that's particularly bothered her before. And I said, oh, really? That you want it to be like a flexibility class? And she was like, yeah, well, you know, when you get to my age, that's something you need to improve, isn't it? And I was like, is it? Is that actually something you want to work on? Or is that what you've been told women your age should be working on? She really struggles with sleep, insomnia, restless legs. So I was thinking that she may choose one of those things to work on in the yoga class to help support her well-being. But instead, she chose something that she thinks, and she's probably been marketed to, that women in their early 60s struggle with flexibility. And obviously yoga has a reputation of improving flexibility, which it can do. But I don't really think it was a goal that she truly wanted and that would truly change her well-being and health, but it's something that she had been told to believe. So that's just an example of where it's not necessarily a bad goal, and there's nothing wrong with improving your flexibility in your 60s, but it's that it wasn't truly going to help my mum's individual well-being and wouldn't really make an impact on her everyday life if she had have chosen and maybe thought about the things that she really struggles with. So that's just an example. Think individually what your struggles are, where your well-being and health struggle, and where they could be improved. And those should be your well-being goals, not what you should do or what you've been told to do. So when people come for yoga, they have certain goals in mind. These may be quite generic goals, maybe improving flexibility, strength, sometimes, often stress, anxiety, managing those. Now they're great goals to have because they are about your specific well-being. Rarely does someone come and say, I want to improve my downward facing dog. Yeah? Or I want to be able to hold plank 10 seconds longer. Those are great goals, don't get me wrong, and yoga could help you do both of those things. But what you really want is, I want more energy. I want to sleep better. I want less anxiety. I want to trust my body again. I want to know how to feel less overwhelmed. Those goals are beautiful. They are things, you notice that most of them are, I want to feel. Yeah, I want to feel less anxious. I want to feel less stressed. I want to trust my body again. They're not about looks. They're not about aesthetics. They're not about the stereotype of strength, balance, flexibility. These are things that yoga can help you get, and they're going to make an impact on your well-being. And if we could take away the way that we looked, so we couldn't wake up tomorrow and you couldn't see how you or anyone else around you looked, what would your well-being goal be then? Because I can guarantee you it's probably very different to what it would be if you could. So have a little think about that. Have a little reflection, journal it out. Think, what is my well-being goal today as I look in the mirror? What would I do if I couldn't see myself tomorrow and I couldn't see anyone else around me and I had to go on how I felt? What would your well-being goal be then? And how different is it to the one you thought of when you were looking in the mirror? It's okay. It's understandable. I've been there. It took me 28 years of yo-yo dieting to realise that I didn't want to lose weight anymore. I didn't want to diet anymore. I was sick of it. And 23 years, that was wrong. 23 years, still a long time. 23 years of yo-yo dieting to make me realise I didn't want to do it anymore. And it was because I was being told to. My whole life I was told I was bigger, I weighed more, I was heavier, and you need to lose weight. You're not healthy, you need to lose weight. I was healthy. I am a healthy person. I have had unhealthy times of my life, of course, but I'm a really healthy person. That is regardless of the number on a scale or the number on my genes. So I just want you to really think about what well-being and health means for you and how you can get there. Once you have the right goals, you do the right things, and you will get there. We think about our health and well-being. How can we decide these goals? So one big sort of indication of health, in my opinion, is energy. So one of the biggest indicators of your health is the energy that you have. And this isn't necessarily just the energy to exercise or to do physical things. It's also your mental energy. And part of that is patience, irritability, your ability to listen to others and take in what they're saying. All of that is kind of mental and emotional energy. So I want you to think about, how do you feel when you wake up? Do you feel refreshed? Do you still feel tired? How do you feel throughout the day? Do you have energy crashes? Is your energy sort of dipping in and out, up and down? How do you feel when you go to bed? Are you wired? Do you struggle with insomnia? All these things are signs that your health and well-being are not optimized because your energy levels are not where they should be. Energy levels change throughout the day. If you're feeling exhausted for a majority of the time and you're struggling with sleep, then that's an indication that there's some parts of your well-being journey that need addressing, and maybe they could become your goals. So rather than, I need to lose weight or I need to improve my flexibility because that advert told me to, think, I would love to have more energy. That is such a great goal. I love that goal. It's a goal I had and I achieved. Yes, there are days when it's difficult, there are days when it changes, but there's things that you can put in place that can help support that goal. And just like sleep, it can impact so many different parts of your life and so many different parts of your health. So if sleep or energy is something that you struggle with, I've got resources for you. I've got a whole episode actually on how to improve your sleep naturally because it's something I'm so passionate about. I also have yoga for sleep practices and resources to help with your energy levels. particularly associated with your menstrual cycle. So I talk about this a lot with your menstrual cycle, your hormonal health. The 4 distinct phases that you go through have 4 energy levels. The energy levels naturally match the phase that you're in, and when you learn about that and you align with that and do the things that naturally match that energy, it really changes how you manage your menstrual cycle. And you're always in your cycle, yeah? There's no time you're in it and time you're not in it. You're always in at least one of the 4 phases of your menstrual cycle. So if you can truly align with that energy and do the things that make you feel optimal, whether that's rest during your period and energizing workouts during your ovulation, then you feel aligned all month round because you're always in your cycle. So hormonal health is really closely linked to energy, and is another great goal to have, to start looking at your hormonal health, start looking at your cycle, just learning about it, learning about the different symptoms you experience, how you manage them, how your energy is aligned. All these things will help you improve your well-being and improve how you feel about yourself, not how you look. We're seeing that distinct difference between how I feel and how I look. Game changer. Another part to this, a part that is definitely not talked about enough, is mental health. Because by definition, mental health is not something that can be seen, right? So no matter how someone looks, how well or healthy they look, we don't know what's going on under the surface. We don't know what's going on in their mind. So taking care of your mental health is another fantastic well-being goal, and it's not something that you can tie to how you look. This is strictly how you feel by definition, right? So you can exercise regularly, eat well, take supplements, seem very healthy on the outside, but if your mental health is suffering and you're not putting it first, maybe you're really stressed, anxious, depressed, you struggle to switch off, that will manifest itself in lots of ways in your health, regardless of how you continue to look to the outside world. So it's really important to acknowledge that. It's really important to, when we're thinking about all these health and well-being goals and our routines and our exercise and our nutrition, all these things we're doing because we want to better ourselves, which is a fantastic thing to do. But we can't ignore our mental health. We can't put all our goals and ambitions in the way that we look, of losing more weight or using a cream to look younger, dyeing our hair, all these things that we all do, and it's fine to do those things, but we also need to be looking at our mental health. What if you could do 5 things today that would help your mind, not your body? Take that difference, think about it, reflect, like I say, journal, whatever it is that helps you to think of ideas of what that means to you. But we have to make sure that we're not neglecting our mind when we're working on our health and well-being, because without it, there's nothing else really. You can have a physically fit and healthy body. If your mind is not, then you won't be able to thrive. You won't be able to function on a day-to-day basis. And even if you can pretend for a while, it will catch up with you. Your mental health is so important. It is everything. And they're so closely linked. We also can't ignore the fact that there are massive links between our mind and our body. When our mind is not well, it can manifest itself and show up in our body, as it can vice versa. So if, say, we're neglecting our body, not giving it what it needs, our mind can suffer too. Sleep is another big part of this. Sleep, although is obviously a physical thing that we're doing, allowing ourselves to sleep, during our sleep, it's our mind that rests, it's our mind that resets and gets everything that it needs during that time to be able to function. When you have a lack of sleep, the biggest things you'll notice will be your mind, yeah? You're forgetful, you're irritable, all those things that come with lack of sleep. You'll notice those more than you will the physical feelings of being tired, because your mind is so powerful and it's so important. So please make sure when you're looking at your health and your well-being, especially in your 30s, that you're not neglecting your mental health, and you're thinking of ways to improve it, you're thinking of ways to support it, and to make sure that it's not left aside and not prioritizing our physical health and the way we look over the way that we feel. Okay, so we're going to go back to the start of the episode where we said about what health looks like. So when I said, what is a healthy person or health look like, what you were imagining. And now we're going to flip that on its head and say, what if it looked like the things that we could feel? What if health looked like having energy to be with your family or the people that you love, to be there for your children? What if it meant sleeping well? What if it meant having regular cycles? What if it meant managing stress, feeling good in your body, eating foods because you wanted them and they nourish you, not because they're healthy and low calorie? What if it meant moving because it felt good? What if it meant feeling emotionally supported? Yeah? If we flip this on its head and we change how we're seeing this, health is not how we look, it's how we feel. It will change everything that you've been thinking, everything that you've been doing to help support yourself in a health or well-being way, whatever that looks like to you, will be completely different if you start to think about how you feel, how it will make you feel, how health can be on the inside, not the outside. So today's episode was all about looking at health, well-being, the messages that we see and what we think in ourselves as women. So I really hope that you've been inspired to look at this differently. I hope that you're doing some self-reflection and setting some well-being goals all around how you feel instead of how you look. If you need any help with yoga, meditation, any kind of new well-being goals, then have a look at my resources. I'll put all the links in the show notes so it's easy for you to find. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Take care.